cars passing by, but I tried to do this at a moment where there is not too much traffic. But if there's like a very loud car, I will cut it out, don't worry. Welcome. This is Lunar T ASMR. This is kind of an introductory video. Is that the right word? Don't know. And I will just show you various items that have something to do with me, and then use them as triggers. I thought that would be a fun idea. So I think I have 5 or 6 items lined up, and each of them have something to do with me. And I will talk about how it is related to me. Let's start. Okay, let's get started. So the first trigger is a replica. A pretty dusty replica of a Death Note. Obviously you can guess that this is because not as much anymore, but I really like anime, but I don't watch it as much anymore. Like, back in 2020, I watched 81 or 82, I think 82 anime. And I'm kind of over it a bit, I think. So in 2021, I watched 6. And in 2022, so far I have watched 1. But I really want to get back into it because I really like it. And I think that a Death Note prompt is pretty cool to have. It says Death Note. It's a very cool show. It's probably the best written anime I have ever seen. Not like my favorite one, or not the best anime ever, but when it comes to writing alone, I think it is like, it takes the win there. I think it's one of the best written anime ever. But like, as an overall score, I would only give it a 7 out of 10, but I've heard that I'm pretty harsh on anime, so. Let's do some page flipping. That's nice. That's nice. So, I started watching anime when I was 14, maybe 15, don't know for sure. And there was a friend of mine who recommended me to watch Attack on Titan. So that was my first show. And I still really love that one. And then I haven't seen the last season yet, though. And then after Attack on Titan, that's risky. After Attack on Titan, I watched Death Note. So Death Note was my second anime ever. But now I've moved on to some very obscure anime for the most part. Like these days, I look for anime that almost no one knows for some reason. Like, then I get frustrated when I don't find anyone to talk about it to. But it's my own fault, because I myself look for anime that no one knows. So, that's kind of self-sabotaging, I suppose. And this notebook, everything it says, well, not everything, because then it would be had to be everything. since I said I studied photography and film. Obviously, I had the film part. But now it's the photography. At first, I went in there not really liking to do photography. That's so silent. Oh my god. I need to be so careful with this. So at first I went to high school. Not really not being very interested in photography, but more in film. But now at this point, I really love photography. And now I have 3 film cameras, so cameras that aren't digital like the one I'm recording this with, which I can also use for photography. And I have used 3 console, pretty much. So it had Gallagher, and it had Pac-Man, and Tick Duck, and then the one racing game that not a single person in this world cared about, but it was fun. Might also have had Mrs. Pac-Man, not sure. And I played a lot of that as well. And then after that, I played a lot of Crash Bandicoot with my mom and dad. Mostly with my mom. Mostly Crash Bandicoot 3. Crash Bandicoot Warped. The best one. I also played the second one a lot, but I wasn't a big fan of the first one. But I played that a lot. And then after that, I didn't really play that many games for a long time. Up until probably 2011. Because that is the year that Skyrim came out. I think I don't even think I started playing it when it came out. I think I started playing it years after. Skyrim is the game that really got me into playing games. I really like the sound of this joystick. So, I didn't take my PlayStation controller because I don't. Oh yeah, by now I do have it here. Never mind. But I thought this is a bit more unique than a PlayStation controller. I mostly play on PlayStation and PC. And PC, not NPC, non-playable character. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying PlayStation and PC. But I thought this was a bit more unique and more interesting to show. So you've got these A and B buttons. I don't know which one. A and B buttons in that order. A, B, A, B, A, B. A, B, A, B, A, B. And there you have the joystick. And then you have other buttons. The volume button, with which you can turn down volume when you're playing, or up. The start button to start playing the game you selected. And the reset button. I actually don't know if there's batteries in there. Yep. Because at the back here there's a switch with which you can turn it on. But I'm not gonna touch that. That sound is so nice. These days, I'm playing a lot of FromSoft games. My favorite game of all time is Bloodborne. And my second favorite game of all time is Nier Automata, which is where the name of this channel comes from. The Lunar Tear is So you tell me, if you do not know who H.P. Lovecraft is, it is a horror writer who basically sort of invented a whole new genre of horror called cosmic horror, which is all about how insignificant we are in the grand scheme of things, and how there's a whole world of things outside of what we can see that we have no idea about. Not necessarily like it's like a religion type thing, just like maybe like we only can see, taste, smell, feel, and hear. What if there's things outside of that that we cannot do? What if there's certain things we can't see? What if there's certain things we can't sense? And it's kind of about that whole world, for the most part. So the reason I also took this book is because, first of all, it's probably one of my favorite books. I haven't read all of the stories though, by far not yet, but I'm working on it. But I just really, really love reading books. I'm not doing it as much these days since Elden Ring came out. I've been kind of addicted to that whenever I can. When I'm not doing that, I'm mostly editing videos for someone or writing on a script for my own video. Things like that. So I haven't read in a long time. And when I read these days, it's mostly non-fiction. I'm now reading Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. Very interesting. Very interesting. But I love reading books. In fact, my camera is now standing on a pile of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 books. Let's move over to the case. Oh, that is so nice. That is so good. I love the sound. But I really love this type of tapping. Very soft, hollow, bassy tones. Something else I often do, but I chose not to show you because that would have been the third fucking book, and that's too much. Is I like to draw a lot. I have an Instagram account with all my art, well, if you want to call it that, called Blind Eyed Beast, with an underscore between each word. And I post all of my artworks that I make, or all of my drawings I make. I don't like to call them artworks for myself, but all of my drawings I make, I post them on there. And I think there you'll also see my inspiration from H.P. Lovecraft, Bloodborne, and Meat King. I like to draw horror things. Horror things. Horror things. Something I also like to do, should I also, no, I'm not going to do that. Something I also like to do is I like to collect things. Like, I collect books, I collect games. I had a time where I was collecting a lot of Funko Pops. I collect as much